There is something unsettling about the way clothing works on the human mind. A man may walk into a room wearing one thing and no one pays attention. The same man can walk into that same room dressed differently, and suddenly the air shifts. People notice him, respect him, or desire him without understanding why. This is not fashion, this is psychology. Every color, every fabric, every detail is a silent message sent straight into the subconscious. And when older men learn how to use these signals, they discover that younger women are not only noticing, but are pulled closer without knowing the reason. This is not about expensive suits or flashy accessories. It is about strategy, timing, and psychological triggers that unlock attraction on a deeper level. Clothes can make you look more powerful, more mysterious, or more youthful. The real question is, which look creates the strongest pull? Stay with me, because in this video, we will break this down into 5 psychological layers, each revealing why older men who dress with intent gain an instant edge. Watch carefully. By the end, you will see clothing not as fabric, but as a weapon. Clothing is not decoration. It is armor, disguise, and signal all at once. Older men often underestimate the silent power of what they wear. They believe attraction comes from wealth, status, or charm, yet much of it begins with a simple glance at how they present themselves. Younger women, whether they admit it or not, notice small details that reveal more than words ever could. A wrinkled shirt speaks of carelessness. A poorly fitted jacket whispers insecurity. Shoes covered in dust tell a story of neglect. These details are not random. They are psychological markers that shape instant judgments. The human brain processes visual signals in less than half a second. In that fraction of time, attraction can either spark or die. Younger women are drawn to older men who project stability but also vitality. That balance is fragile, and clothing becomes the bridge. Too formal, and the man appears outdated. Too casual, and he risks looking like he is chasing youth desperately. The secret lies in mastering contrast, clean lines that show discipline, subtle style that signals awareness, and bold details that hint at strength. Think of the effect of color. Black communicates power and mystery, but too much makes a man look unapproachable. Navy suggests control and confidence without arrogance. Earth tones show maturity and grounding, but if overused they can feel dull. Psychology studies reveal that red attracts attention faster than any other shade because the brain links it with vitality and dominance. Yet an older man draped in red from head to toe looks theatrical. A red tie, pocket square, or even socks, however, becomes a subconscious spark. The eye catches it, the brain reads it, and suddenly he is noticed. Fit is another weapon. Loose clothing adds years, signaling tiredness and disinterest in appearance. Overly tight clothing signals insecurity, like a man trying too hard to prove relevance. But tailored clothing sends a darker message. It shows control, discipline, and awareness of how space is occupied. Younger women do not only see the body, they see how a man manages his body within his clothes. A jacket that frames the shoulders and narrows at the waist suggests protection and strength. It is an unspoken message of safety. Accessories are often overlooked, but they can change the entire story. A watch is not only for telling time, it is a marker of how a man values time. A leather strap signals tradition, patience, and grounding. A metal strap signals power, sharpness, and ambition. Both speak to the subconscious, but in different tones. The same applies to shoes. Polished leather shoes show discipline, while neglected ones expose carelessness. Younger women read these details quickly, even without knowing they are doing it. Clothing is never neutral. It is either working for you or against you. And when an older man chooses each detail with intent, his presence begins to feel different. The younger woman senses it, but she cannot explain why. That is the beginning of attraction rooted in psychology rather than chance. Attraction is not only about looking good. It is about triggering emotions that bypass logic. Younger women often carry hidden conflicts when they interact with older men. Part of them seeks stability, guidance, and protection. Another part fears dependence, boredom, or judgment from others. Clothing becomes the silent tool that resolves these conflicts without a word being spoken. Think about posture and clothing together. A sharp blazer on a man who slouches loses its power. A well-cut coat on a man who walks with quiet confidence transforms him instantly. Psychology has proven that clothing influences behavior as much as it influences perception. This is known as enclothed cognition. When a man dresses with intent, he does not only change how others see him, he changes how he carries himself. The clothes become a second skin, shaping his body language. Younger women sense this shift, even before they consciously analyze it. Textures play a role too. Smooth fabrics like silk or fine cotton suggest refinement, a life lived with attention to detail. Rough textures like tweed or suede suggest ruggedness, strength, and experience. The mix of both can be powerful, showing a man who is not trapped in one identity but carries multiple layers. This duality intrigues younger women because it reflects both security and unpredictability. There is also the psychology of contrast. When an older man wears something that balances tradition with modernity, it sends a message of relevance. A tailored suit paired with sleek sneakers, or a crisp shirt with a leather jacket, shows that he respects timeless style but refuses to fade into the background. This balance tells the subconscious mind, he is experienced, but he is still alive in the present. Younger women do not seek men stuck in the past. They are drawn to those who bridge generations without losing dignity. Silence speaks through details. A minimalist wardrobe often outshines flamboyance. Simplicity creates mystery because it withholds excess information. A clean, fitted shirt in a neutral tone says more than an outfit overloaded with patterns and accessories. Why? Because the human brain is wired to trust clarity. Overcomplication signals chaos. Simplicity signals confidence. An older man who dresses simply yet precisely tells a younger woman that he knows who he is, and that self-certainty is magnetic. Psychologists studying first impressions often conclude that the smallest cues dominate memory. For example, if a man's outfit is perfect but his belt is worn out, the memory of neglect overshadows everything else. Younger women, consciously or not, latch onto these imperfections and build silent judgments around them. This is why every piece matters. Not because women are superficial, but because the brain is designed to process incomplete details as clues to deeper truths. When clothing is chosen with psychological intent, it becomes less about covering the body and more about sending signals. Younger women respond not to fabric, but to the silent language it creates. This language whispers promises of strength, stability, and vitality. There is a hidden layer of attraction that goes beyond color, fit, or texture. It is the psychological story that clothing tells. Younger women are not only drawn to how a man looks but to what his appearance represents in their minds. An older man who dresses well can embody the archetype of a leader, a mentor, or even a protector. These archetypes live deep in the subconscious, shaped by culture and evolution. A poorly dressed man, on the other hand, communicates weakness, neglect, or invisibility, no matter how strong his personality may be. Consider the role of authority. Uniforms command respect not because of the individual, but because of the association tied to the clothing. A soldier's uniform suggests discipline. A doctor's coat suggests knowledge. When an older man carefully selects his clothing, he taps into these same psychological triggers. A tailored blazer resembles the authority of a leader. A dark coat resembles the quiet power of a strategist. These signals bypass conscious thought and stir emotions that are difficult to explain. Clothing also speaks to the primal desire for status. Humans are wired to seek leaders, to follow those who appear to have control of resources and direction. Younger women subconsciously scan for signs of competence. Expensive logos are not the answer, because they signal desperation if used too heavily. Instead, understated quality tells a more powerful story. A simple leather shoe, hand-polished, says more than a flashy designer logo. It whispers of discipline, patience, and the ability to invest in long-term value. This is the kind of silent wealth that younger women notice, because it feels stable rather than performative. Another layer is mystery. Too much exposure destroys curiosity. A man covered in loud patterns or over-accessorized appears to be trying to prove something. A man who wears fewer but well-chosen items leaves space for imagination. Psychology has long shown that mystery creates attraction because the human brain craves to solve unfinished stories. An older man who dresses with subtle restraint creates the impression that there is more beneath the surface, and that tension draws attention. Then there is the question of age. Clothing has the power to bend perception of time. An older man dressed carelessly appears older than he is. An older man dressed sharply but tastefully often looks years younger. Younger women are drawn to men who carry age as wisdom, not as weight. Clothing becomes the signal that separates outdated from timeless. For example, dark denim with a crisp shirt projects maturity but still holds vitality. A three-piece suit in outdated patterns, however, may project distance and stiffness. What fascinates the mind is not youth itself but the energy that clothing reflects. When older men dress to show strength, stability, and relevance, they override the barriers of age. Younger women respond not to the years lived, but to the way those years are carried. Clothing is the lens through which that perception is shaped. Every detail of clothing carries weight because it interacts with hidden instincts that guide attraction. Younger women do not consciously analyze each piece, but their subconscious mind reacts instantly. One of the most powerful triggers is contrast between control and rebellion. When an older man dresses with precision but adds one unexpected element, he awakens curiosity. For instance, a strict tailored suit with an open collar suggests discipline mixed with freedom. A leather jacket layered over a simple shirt suggests authority with a hint of danger. This balance of order and unpredictability creates tension, and tension is the birthplace of desire. Patterns also carry psychological influence. A man in plain, sharp clothing communicates focus and clarity. Subtle patterns, such as checks or stripes, add movement and energy. But overwhelming designs create confusion and suggest chaos. Younger women are not drawn to chaos in older men, they seek stability with an edge. The right pattern, used sparingly, whispers excitement without destroying authority. Even grooming interacts with clothing. A perfectly chosen outfit loses power if paired with careless grooming. Hair, beard, and even scent all serve as extensions of style. Clean grooming signals discipline, while intentional ruggedness, such as a controlled stubble, signals vitality. Younger women respond not to perfection, but to harmony. If grooming and clothing match the same message, attraction strengthens. If they clash, the entire impression collapses. Psychologists often speak about the halo effect. This is the brain's tendency to let one strong positive trait overshadow everything else. If an older man dresses sharply, younger women may unconsciously assign him traits such as intelligence, confidence, and success, even before he speaks. This is why clothing is more than surface. It shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. The man himself may not be powerful, but if he appears powerful, others begin to treat him as if he is. That treatment, in turn, can transform his behavior. Clothing becomes the starting point of a psychological loop that feeds attraction. There is also the trigger of social proof. Younger women notice how others react to a man. An older man who dresses with intent tends to command silent respect in groups. He may not speak loudly, but eyes drift toward him. This silent acknowledgement influences perception. When younger women see that others notice him, their subconscious reads him as higher status, making him more attractive without a single word exchanged. Even silence in style communicates. The absence of excess accessories, the calm choice of muted tones, and the precise fit tell a younger woman that this man does not need noise to be seen. He controls attention without chasing it. This level of restraint is rare, and rarity is magnetic. When clothing is treated as a psychological weapon rather than mere fabric, every piece becomes part of a story that pulls attention and holds it. Attraction is no longer luck, it is strategy. Attraction is rarely random. It is built through layers of signals that either draw someone closer or push them away. For older men, clothing is the fastest and most silent way to control these signals.
Younger women are not only looking at fabric, they are scanning for deeper meaning, often without realizing it. Each choice, from the cut of a jacket to the shine on a shoe, sends a message about who the man is and how he moves through life. When these choices align, the result is immediate. The essence of dressing to attract younger women is balance. An older man must communicate maturity without appearing outdated, vitality without appearing desperate. This balance is achieved through subtle control. A tailored outfit suggests authority. A single bold detail, like a pocket square, bracelet, or pair of striking shoes, suggests individuality. Together, they tell a story: this man has lived, learned, and yet still has fire within him. Psychology shows that attraction grows stronger when it carries both comfort and challenge. Too much comfort feels safe but dull. Too much challenge feels exciting but unstable. Clothing becomes the tool to merge these opposites. A man dressed in stable, neutral tones, with one surprising element of style, tells the subconscious, I am steady, but I am never boring. Younger women feel this contrast without needing to explain it. There is also the energy of self-respect. When a man invests in how he dresses, he signals that he values himself. Human beings mirror the energy they see. A younger woman who sees an older man who respects himself is more likely to respect him in return. And respect is the seed from which attraction grows. Clothing is not vanity, it is proof of self-awareness. We cannot ignore the final, most important trigger: mystery. Older men who dress with too much exposure of wealth or trend risk being read as predictable. But the man who dresses with precision while holding something back creates an aura of unanswered questions. Who is he? What does he know? Why does he seem different? The brain craves answers, and curiosity transforms into attraction. That is why restraint is as important as boldness. The greatest presence is often carried not by the man who shows everything, but by the man who leaves something unseen. When older men understand these psychological principles, clothing becomes more than style, it becomes influence. It is no longer about chasing attention, it is about commanding it without effort. Younger women are drawn not because of tricks or shallow appearances, but because the signals of strength, control, vitality, and mystery speak directly to their subconscious. Attraction, in the end, is not won by shouting louder. It is won by mastering silence, precision, and intent. The older man who dresses with this awareness no longer asks to be noticed. He becomes impossible to ignore.